Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture on applied hydraulics. In this video lecture, we'll be discussing about hydraulic turbines. These are the contents what we'll be discussing. We'll be discussing about introduction to hydraulic turbines, general layout of hydropower plant, classification of hydraulic turbines, and certain important definitions. Now, coming to the term hydraulic machine. Hydraulic machine may be defined as a machine which convert either hydraulic energy into mechanical energy or mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. I repeat, hydraulic machine may be defined as a machine which convert either hydraulic energy into mechanical energy or mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. Turbine is a hydraulic machine which convert hydraulic energy into mechanical energy. Pumps are the hydraulic machine which convert mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. Thus, the study of hydraulic machines involves study of pumps as well as study of turbines. So in study of turbines, we will be studying about Pelton turbine, Francis turbine and Kaplan turbine. In study of pumps, we will be studying about centrifugal pump and reciprocating pump. Now, the hydraulic turbine is often referred as a prime mover. A prime mover is a machine which uses raw energy of a substance and converts it into useful mechanical energy. So in case of a hydraulic turbine, the raw energy of water is converted into useful mechanical energy. The mechanical energy, we will be using it in running a electrical generator. Usually the electrical generator and the turbine are coupled through a shaft. So in this diagram you can see the bottom portion is the turbine part and the top portion is the generator part. So as water works on the turbine is set into rotation. So as turbine rotates, even the generator rotates, since the generator and the turbine are connected through a common shaft. So as turbine rotates, electrical generator also rotates, thus electricity is produced, which is hydroelectric power, and this hydroelectric power is cheapest as compared to the power generated from other sources such as oil and coal, etc. This is the layout of hydroelectric power plant. So here you can see water is being transported from the reservoir to the hydroelectric power plant through penstock. So as water is transferred from the reservoir to the hydroelectric power plant through the penstock, as water works on the turbine is set into rotation. So as turbine rotates, even generator also rotates, and we know by the law of physics, if there is a change in magnetic field, an EMF is induced, thus electricity is produced. Once after the water has worked over the turbine, it goes to the tail race through the draft tube. Now coming to the components of hydroelectric power plant. So in a hydroelectric power plant, we will be having a dam, penstock, a turbine and tail race. Now dam is a barrier which is constructed across a river so that a pool of water called reservoir is formed. This water from the reservoir, we will be using it for various purposes. Penstock are the pipes of larger diameter which will be carrying water from the reservoir to the hydroelectric power plant. The water will be under high pressure. Now in a hydroelectric power plant, we may use different types of turbines. We may use Pelton turbine, we may use Kaplan turbine, we may use Francis turbine, depending upon the head available and the discharge available. Tail race is a channel which will be carrying water away from the turbine. Now as water is being carried to the hydroelectric power plant in the penstock, the water transfers its energy to the turbine and turbine is set into rotation. Once the water has worked over the turbine, so it goes to the tail race. So tail race is a channel which carries water away from the turbine once the water has worked over the turbine. Coming to the classification of hydraulic turbines. So there are 6 classifications. First one, according to head and quantity of water available, turbines have been classified into impulse turbine and reaction turbine. Impulse turbine requires high head and low rate of flow. Reaction turbine requires low head and high rate of flow. Reaction turbines have been further classified into 1 for the medium head and medium rate of flow, and 1 for the low head and high rate of flow. The second classification is according to the action of water on the turbine. According to the action of water on the turbine, turbines have been classified into impulse turbine and reaction turbine. So example for impulse turbine is Pelton turbine. Then for reaction turbine it is Francis turbine and Coupland turbine. Impulse turbine is a turbine wherein the energy available at the inlet of the turbine is purely kinetic energy. As water flows over the vanes of the turbine, the pressure is atmospheric from inlet to the outlet of the turbine. Coming to the reaction turbine, in case of reaction turbine, the energy available at the inlet of the turbine is a combination of pressure energy as well as kinetic energy. So as water flows through the turbine, the water is under pressure and the pressure energy goes on changing to kinetic energy. And in case of reaction turbine, the complete setup is in an airtight casing and it is completely full of water. So here you can see Pelton turbine is actually an impulse turbine, because the turbine is rotating because of impulse action of the turbine, and these two, that is Coupland turbine and Francis turbine, they are reaction turbine. Now according to the name of the originator, turbines have been classified into Pelton turbine, Francis turbine and Coupland turbine. Pelton turbine was first designed by an American engineer named Lester Allen Pelton. It is a impulse type of turbine which requires high head and low discharge. Francis turbine. Francis turbine was designed by James Bickens Francis and hence it has been named after him. It is medium high to medium low head and requires medium small to medium large quantity of discharge. Coming to Coupland turbine. Coupland turbine was designed by Dr. Victor Coupland, who was an Italian engineer. This turbine is a reaction type of turbine. It requires low head and high rate of flow. Now, according to the direction of flow of water in the turbine, the turbines have been classified into tangential flow turbine. The example for it is Pelton turbine. So here the water strikes the runner tangential to the path of rotation. So in this diagram you can see there are number of curved vanes attached to the runner of the turbine, and the jet is striking the vanes tangential to the runner. Hence it is a tangential flow turbine. Coming to radial flow turbine, of course radial flow turbine is no more used. Here the water flows in a radial direction through the runner. The third one is axial flow turbine. The example for axial flow turbine is the Coupland turbine. So here the water flows parallel to the axis of the turbine shaft. So this is Coupland turbine. Here you can see that the water is hitting the run of the turbine in such a way that it is parallel to the shaft of the turbine. Mixed flow turbine. Mixed flow turbine, the example for this is Francis turbine. So here the water enters the blade radially and comes out axially parallel to the turbine shaft. So this diagram gives you an idea about Francis turbine. So this is the top view of the Francis turbine. The water is entering the turbine radially through the scroll casing and as it passes through the guide vanes, it hits the turbine vanes and it is coming out of the system parallel to the axis of the turbine shaft. According to the disposition of the turbine shaft, turbines have been classified into turbine shaft, it may be vertical or horizontal. So Pelton turbine may have a horizontal shaft. So in this figure you can see that the inner circle, which is actually the shaft of the turbine, so this shaft is horizontal and it is perpendicular to the plane of the surface. The Francis turbine and Coupland turbine may have vertical shaft. So in this figures you can see the Francis turbine and the Coupland turbine have vertical shaft. Now the last classification is according to the specific speed of the turbine. So the specific speed of the turbine is defined as the speed of a geometrically similar turbine that would develop 1 kilowatt of power under 1 meter head. The specific speed of the turbine is given by the formula Ns is equals to N into root P divided by H raised to 5 by 4, where N is the normal working speed, P is the power output of the turbine, and H is the net or effective head in meters. So according to the specific speed of the turbine, turbines have been classified into low specific speed turbine and high specific speed turbine. Low specific speed turbine requires high head and low discharge. High specific speed turbine requires low head and high discharge. Coming to the definition of heads. So there are two types of head. One is gross head. Gross head will be denoting it as Hg. It is the difference in the water surface levels at the reservoir and the water surface level at the tail race. So here in this diagram you can see this is the free surface level of water in the reservoir, and this is the tail race, and this is the free surface level of the water in the tail race. So the difference in free surface level of water in the reservoir as well as in the tail race is known as gross head, and this gross head will be denoting it as Hg. Coming to net head. Net head is also called as effective head. We will be denoting it by H. The head available at the inlet of the turbine is known as net head. So while calculating net head, we need to consider the loss of head due to friction. We may neglect the minor losses. Now, as I have said that the water from the reservoir is carried to the hydroelectric power plant through penstock, and these penstock are nothing but the pipes of larger diameter which will be carrying water under pressure. Now as water flows through this penstock, there will be loss of head due to friction, which we will be calculating while considering the net head, and the minor losses we can neglect. So the net head at the inlet of the turbine, that is just before the water is about to strike the turbine, the net head here we will be calculating. It is given by net head H is equals to the gross head minus the loss of head due to friction. So loss of head due to friction is given by 4 FLV square by 2 GD, and the difference in the levels, that is with reference to the center of the penstock and the water surface level at the tail race. I repeat, the net head H is given by Hg minus loss of head due to friction, which is Hf, minus H. H is nothing but the difference in water surface level and the center of the penstock. Coming to the definitions of efficiencies, we'll be studying about 4 important efficiencies of the turbine. The first one is hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency will be denoting it as eta H. So this hydraulic efficiency is defined as the ratio of the power developed by the runner to the power supplied by the jet at the entrance of the turbine. Mathematically, we will be denoting it as eta H is equals to power developed by the runner divided by power supplied at the inlet of the turbine. Now, the power developed by the runner is called as the runner power, which we will be denoting it as Rp, and the power supplied at the inlet of the turbine is water power, which we will be denoting it as Wp. Therefore, eta H will be equal to Rp divided by Wp. Now, the power at the inlet of the turbine is more, and it goes on decreasing due to hydraulic loss. So, initially the vanes are smooth, since even the water has certain sediments, so due to friction the blade surfaces become rough, and hence as the water hits the turbine there will be a certain hydraulic loss. So not all the power of the water is transferred to the runner of the turbine, and there will be certain losses. So the power delivered to the runner of the turbine, it will be less than the power available at the inlet of the turbine. Coming to mechanical efficiency will be denoting it as eta H. So this mechanical efficiency is defined as the ratio of the power obtained at the shaft of the turbine to the power developed by the runner. So mathematically, eta M will be equal to power available at the turbine shaft divided by the power developed by the turbine runner. So power available at the shaft of the turbine will be denoting it as Sp. Power developed by the turbine runner will be denoting it as Rp. So eta M is Sp divided by Rp. Now here in the figure you can see that the runner of the turbine is connected to the shaft of the turbine through some bearings, and if there is some friction in the bearings, so the entire power of the runner is not transferred to the shaft of the turbine. There will be certain loss. As I have mentioned here, the two powers differ by the amount of mechanical loss, that is bearing friction. So due to mechanical loss, the power available at the shaft of the turbine is less than the power delivered to the runner of the turbine. Coming to volumetric efficiency. Now, volumetric efficiency is defined as the ratio of volume of water actually striking the runner to the volume of water supplied to the runner. Now, here, just at the inlet of the turbine, not all the water from the jet will be hitting the runner. That is, say a certain percentage, which will vary from 1 to 3%, some quantity of water, it directly joins the tail race without hitting the runner of the turbine. So the ratio of volume of water which is actually striking to the runner to the volume of water supplied to the turbine is called as volumetric efficiency. Coming to overall efficiency. Overall efficiency is defined as the ratio of power available at the shaft of the turbine to the power supplied by the jet of water at the inlet of the turbine. Now, overall efficiency will be denoting it as eta naught. Eta naught is power at the shaft of the turbine divided by power supplied at the inlet of the turbine. So power at the shaft of the turbine is shaft power. Power supplied at the inlet of the turbine is the water power. So we can write this equation as Sp divided by Wp. Now to this, let us multiply and divide by runner power, which is Rp by Rp. Now if we rearrange the terms, shaft power divided by runner power is mechanical efficiency, and runner power divided by water power is hydraulic efficiency. So shaft power divided by runner power into runner power divided by water power, which is nothing but product of mechanical efficiency into hydraulic efficiency. Therefore the overall efficiency of the turbine is given by the product of mechanical efficiency into hydraulic efficiency. These are my references. Thank you.